I would sing and orbs of light would come down. This membrane between the dragons and the gold around the earth was dissolved.
Hi, welcome to this episode. I'm Sammy Vanek. This is Jeannie
McKenzie.
You found out years ago that when you sang and do a singing bowl, you were noticing in your backyard that you were having a vision or you were seeing vortexes open. And then recently you were guided to go to Crete and you similarly saw
things happening.
You saw things.
I've been working with sound for a long time, since I was like 23 years old. My violin was stepped on, 200-year-old violin that I'd made in another lifetime. It was like such a connection, and the sound came out of me that was like all the sounds that had ever come out of the violin.
Out of your voice.
Came through my voice, yeah. And all these overtones, and it was like I had never experienced my voice like that before. I started to understand like these sounds for opening the chakras and working with overtones. That's a long time ago. That's like almost 40 years ago. Fast forward to 2010. People keep giving me singing bowls, and I'm like, didn't have a good mallet. And they were those wooden mallets that kind of go, So I bought myself a ticket, and I'm walking around in Berkeley. I saw this singing bowl in a window in a like Tibetan Nepalese shop. And I went in and I said, do you sell mallets? And they said, only if you buy a bowl. So I thought, okay, well, maybe I have to buy a bowl, whatever. So I started trying out all these bowls, you know, the cheap bowls, because
yeah, just want the mallet.
So I'm trying out all these bowls, and I get through shelves of bowls, and some of them are nice, but I'm not like having that feeling like, yeah, this bowl. And I get to the bottom shelf, and there's this big mallet. And I think this mallet goes with that bowl that's in the window.
Oh.
So I asked the big bowl that was in the window. So I asked if I could play that bowl. And he's like, well, I guess so. He's very reluctant. But then he gave me the bowl, and I started playing it. And as soon as I started playing it, I just had to sing the pitch of the bowl. And as soon as I started singing the pitch of the bowl, I started seeing the energy fields. I've been studying with Desda Zuckerman the sacred anatomy. So the anatomy of the 50 feet around us.
50 feet around
50
us?
feet around us, yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so there's this physical body, but then there's this whole system of energetic structures around us. And I was hearing what I was supposed to sing for the benefit of the energy fields. And here I am, I'm just singing. And when I finished, luckily it was only the two of us there, when I finished, he said, you have to have that bowl. Will you take it for half price? I said, wow, I wasn't really thinking about spending money on a bowl today like this. I couldn't stop thinking about it, so I came back 2 days later and I bought the bowl. And I started singing with it every day. And what I started singing was the Gayatri Mantra, that roughly translation is salutations to the wondrous sound present in the earth, the heavens, and that which is beyond. May the glorious light of the divine sun illuminate and guide our consciousness. And I would hear how the earth was asking me to sing. And as I was singing in my mind's eye, I would start to see things in my yard, like this vortexes starting to spin. And I just felt like, I'm going to just keep doing this. I'm just going to keep doing this. And I couldn't not do it. I did it every day. I've been doing it every day for over 5 years now. I sang with it at the Mauna Kea. The traditional Hawaiians were doing dances, ceremonies twice a day to keep this biggest in the world ever telescope from being built on their sacred mountain. And they said, does anybody have any offerings? This voice in my head was, Jeannie, get your bowl. So I got my bowl, and I got in this line of people, and they're like cultural anthropologists from all over the world with these sacred blankets and from my ancestors this. And the lady came to me and she's like, what are you doing? Well, you know, what do you want to offer? And I said, well, a song with my bowl. And she said, well, let me check. And so she goes back and she asks the elders, and they're like, yeah, okay. So I'm singing and I'm feeling the Himalayan mountains, and I'm feeling Mount Fuji, and I'm feeling Mount Shasta, and I'm just, it's like these pathways. I was singing and I was still in tears. And I finish and I look up and everyone is in tears. And they called me over to rub noses. All of these Hawaiian elders. I've never done that before. And I was the only one in that long line of people that was asked to rub noses. So I think it's like, there's something going on. This is important, what I'm doing. In February, I was in Oaxaca. I met this woman in a market, and she does readings of your spirit guides. And what I was asking about is, what am I doing? I've been seeing dragons, and I've been seeing these crystalline grids opening up under the ground, and I'm just going, something is up here. And so she said, well, you are connected to the Lyrans, and they are wondering why you haven't asked them to join you, because you've been working together with them over whatever. So I started inviting them to work with me. She said they have 5 places on the planet they're suggesting that you go to enhance this ability that you have. And the first one is Ireland, and the second one is Crete. So I thought, well, my band's got a break. You know what? I'm going to just take everybody's weeks off and go to Ireland and Crete and see, what am I doing? So I went to Ireland. At one point, I was on top of a mountain singing, and again, I had that experience I had in Hawaii where I felt like there's these lines opening up across the planet to all the places I've ever sung. I met up with a friend who does regressions, and I went to this lifetime in Crete. And I saw myself as a young man, like 20 years old, standing at the edge of a cliff with this feeling of such intense longing I could barely handle it. Overwhelming. And then the dolphins came. And when the dolphins came, I was infused with this love. This huge feeling of love. And then I would go back to the village and I would infuse the village with love. So it was like I was an emissary from the dolphins. She said, go later in this life, what's happening? And I saw myself painting murals of dolphins for a temple. And then she said, what happens when you die? And I just saw myself as like my spirit was being carried back to the dolphins. And when I was back with the dolphins, I was seeing all these orbs of light coming down from the heavens into the dolphins. And they were like different flavors of love. And I saw that I had agreed to be an emissary to the humans. And that was what I was doing there. So I go to Crete. The first place I go is the Museum of Archaeology. And I'm in the Museum of Archaeology and I see this mural of dolphins. And I'm just like, I did not paint those noses black. And I was just like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. So I wanted to visit the oldest olive tree. I was like, I gotta visit this 3,400-year-old olive tree. And when I just sat and meditated with the old olive tree, she showed me how her roots were connected to these rivers of gold that surround the heart of the earth, and how her branches were connected to this golden light from the heart of the universe through our sun. She said, they've made a mistake. It's all love. It's an all love tree.
It's an all love tree.
I went down the mountain a little ways, and it's a lot of olive grove there. I just kind of dropped down to the ocean where there's all these olive trees. And I sat there and I sang with my bowl. And as I was singing, these orbs of light were coming down and going into the trees. I just smiled. I was like, okay, I'm on track here in Crete. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I would sing and orbs of light would come down, and like this membrane between the dragons and the gold around the earth was dissolved. So I continue on, and and I'm just like guided to go stay here, Jeannie, go stay there, and things would just open up. I see on the map a cave. I'm going to the cave because I kept having this thought, I really want to go to a cave. For the last 5,000 years, it's been used as a place of worship. And as I'm reading on, I see that in the late 1800s, there was an entire village of people that went into that cave for protection when Crete was being invaded. And they went into the cave and they closed up the cave, and the invaders came and they found an opening and they built a fire and they smoked to death the entire village in the cave. And when I read that, I just thought, oh, no, we're not going there. That's a bad idea. And the voice in my head that just guides me was like, oh, no, that's where you're going. This is where I'm going, okay. I pay my €3 to go into the cave, and I go in and there's all these people in there. I found this little spot that I could sit, and I sat there and I did this breathing practice. So I just sat there and just kept doing that. And I started to feel the energy shifting in the cave. And then there were no more voices and there were no more people. And I didn't have my bowl with me, but I just heard what I should sing, and I started singing, and my voice goes really high. So my voice went way high and came down. As it was coming down, these orbs of light were coming down into the cave, and they were cleaning the cave and then releasing the spirits And I was in the middle of it, and people started coming in again. And I'm like, okay, well, I guess I have to come back. And I go out to my car. And right behind my car, it was hilarious. It was a blue stuffed dolphin directly behind my car. I can't make this stuff up.
You had this incredibly synchronous, this happened, and then that led to this happen, and then led to this happen. All these different aspects were just kind of lining up. My question for you is there a time in your life where that would have been too crazy for you to experience, or too much?
I don't know. I feel like it's been like my being has evolved to this place. And I feel like all of our beings are evolving, that there's more and more that is opening in our view of reality. The amount of light coming onto the planet is so big right now. And the amount of transformation I see, the number of people I could tell this story to that they would believe it.
You feel more like you can tell more people this. How are you orienting to that incredible sequence of events? Like, is there part of you that like, that's not real? Is there any part of you that's like...
Not so much, because now that I'm home, I'm doing even more of it. When I do my singing in the morning, I'm now, and this has been really interesting because I've been singing back to that cave in Crete, like I've been singing and seeing myself there, and that the orbs are going to the Middle East. It's like a back door to the Middle East. Because when I try to bring the orbs directly, it's tricky. What I get is there's this dark, dense, constricted energy that is so much fear, and that amount of love is not...
Yeah, I could see that being too much.
It's too much. And so it's like it has to come around it
like
and
sneaky.
slowly soften it.
You have a voice, you said, like, go here. And it says go here, and you're like, okay, I'll go here.
Yeah.
And then do this. And then I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going to happen, but okay, I'm doing this. And then something incredible happens in your experience.
Yeah.
And then you're seeing this sense of these orbs that you see in your inner vision, coming down, and they feel like love, they feel like this healing energy. And so what I'm getting from your story is that there's this healing energy that's planetary wide, that's coming in very, especially right now, that maybe hasn't in the past.
Yeah, hasn't been able to. That's what I get. Okay. Yeah, like it's that it needs partnership.
And partnership.
Yeah, I'll partner with you.
And you said relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'm in
like an emissary
relationship.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, my heart just opens when I see people who are like, yes, I love and I want this planet to heal, and I'm called to do it. And who knew I could sing these things, and a crowd of people would be crying and accepting me, and like the hearts would open. Who knew? Yeah. And yet I'm saying yes to this relationship, saying yes to this calling that I am, and I'm stepping into it. And it doesn't seem like you have a lot of resistance to stepping into it.
No, I don't. Yeah. No, I've been weird my whole life. I haven't gone with the normal pretty much ever. And so that this is happening is like, I am happy to embrace it. I'm happy to go with it. I've been sort of cultivating the strength to do this my entire life.
What's next for you?
It's a good question. I mean, I'm singing every morning, leading these Qigong and plant sensing classes, doing energy healing work with people. It's like I'm going to school every morning. I sing, and what happens is just opening and showing me more of who I am and who we are as humans, and how can I become more and more of a loving, pure emissary of love on the planet.
I love it. I love what you're doing. I didn't even know what you did until we had this conversation. This is so amazing, and thank you so much for being here.